Hello guys, this is Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM Reacts, episode 344. And today I'm reacting to Purple Tales Podcast, episode 13. Now, we're going to be reacting to this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Continuing our look now at the best in children's television. This morning, the new kid, or dinosaur on the block.
So the big purple reptile that kids can't resist.
The big purple
dinosaur.
Teaches about love and it just kind of like soothes the kids.
And always, there's that signature song.
Okay, it's cool enough. Wow. What happened?
We are getting into this music, aren't we,
We are.
Carrie? And I want to just thank everyone who has been so good about finding Purple Tales podcast.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Carrie Stinson, Barney, I'm Nancy J. But thank you for your comments, for
Your
the
like,
kind words.
subscribing,
Yeah,
and
even
sharing.
And I think there was maybe one dislike, and that's okay.
Really? Just really on one dislike? You gotta be joking me. Anyway, continue on.
Not, you can't please
Absolutely.
everybody,
Absolutely.
but it seems like we're pleasing most.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
how are you doing, Mary?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Nancy?
I'm fine, thank you. We've got Memorial Day is over. We can all start wearing white, and of course now
Yeah.
you have on a dark shirt today.
Well, there you go.
No.
Yeah,
There
still.
you go.
How are things?
Things are wonderful.
Still.
I got a great little message last night from Emilio. Emilio played David on the show with us. So on my series, which was he was on from season 9 through season 12, and
Really?
he saw Brian's episode. Brian was one of the directors with Emilio when he was there. Myself, obviously, and then Fred Holmes is going to be on here soon. He's one of our other directors, and he
Wow.
said, it's so interesting hearing these stories because he was a child.
Okay.
So he didn't really know everything that was involved, and so it's. He said it's been inspiring to him. This show has been really great, and
Wow.
and, it's so great to see to hear these messages.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
you'll have Emilio on the show. That would
Absolutely.
be fun.
Cool
So you
enough.
are inviting everyone. Is that
Everyone.
anything to do
Yes.
with the production of Barney? Not
No,
just
the Barney universe, the whole Barney universe,
Ooh.
and we've got
the
some.
Barniverse.
That's right.
Barnabas, okay.
And we've got some fun people coming up soon from that
Excellent.
all over that universe.
Excellent. And of course, we do have our Purple Tales podcast live coming up.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, which I plan on reacting to on the 22nd. It's our special event. It's going to be at special event. If you watch this, Carrie and Nancy, you're going to love it. But anyway, let's continue on.
We want people to go, get tickets. It's a fundraiser.
Absolutely. Yes, we're raising money for the Boys and Girls Club of Ennis.
Wow.
Ennis, Texas.
And it's going to be your opportunity to ask us questions live. So David, Jeff Ayers is going to be there. Kyle Nelson, Patty Wirtz,
And
Nancy
Wow.
J.
Carrie Stinson.
We'll be
It's
there
going to be a
live.
blast. It's
Wow.
going to be really, really fun in June. And okay, so I have a great story too.
Real quick.
Okay.
And you can go to the Ennis Theater for your tickets.
Okay, and also I think Facebook on our Facebook
Yes,
page.
which will take you to that link.
So it's all
Okay.
it's all connected,
It
isn't
is.
it?
Okay.
We want to make it as easy as possible.
Well, speaking of connections.
Yes.
So, I'm always talking to people, I'm working with Carrie Stinson. He was Barney for 22 years. You just wouldn't believe
Wow.
how cool he is outside of the costume.
Thank you.
And so it turns out that I was at Baylor University graduation a couple of
Okay.
weeks ago, and so
Okay.
my sister-in-law was there for her daughter, my niece, and Jackie was telling me that she remembered she was 1 week overdue with her second child,
Okay.
Jenna, who graduated.
All right.
She was 2 years old in
Wow.
19, and I want to make sure, it was October 1999, and she went into her doctor. She's a week overdue
Okay.
with her second child, and
Wow.
the doctor told her, we got to induce you on this particular date, October 1990, whatever. And she
Right.
goes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I cannot be induced that day because I have tickets to the Barney live show at the Houston Then Summit.
Yeah.
which would have been your show.
It would have been.
And she said, this is the last thing my daughter and I are going to be doing before her brother is born, and I cannot miss that. And the doctor said, there has never been a woman on earth who has delayed delivery.
Okay.
For Barney.
There you go.
For Barney. So I did get to talk to Jenna, too, about
That's
her,
great.
I mean, which was so much fun, and what she remembered. And she said it calmed her. You know, Barney would calm her. She had to do some breathing treatments when she was like 2 and 3 and 4 years
Sure.
old, and used a nebulizer. Well, I don't know if they still use that, but anyway, so
Sure.
her mom, she had to use that maybe for 15
Right.
minutes, and her mom would stick in the VHS of Barney. And Jenna says she just remembers being so calm and she was happy.
And that's
Yeah.
I've heard that story, that version a lot.
Right.
Parents that would use it.
And so Jenna said, you know, she remembers then as she got older and as a teenager was babysitting, she would just call up Barney. She
Wow.
would use Barney, and she said she would, sing the "I Love You" song to
Sure.
the kids, and also she said she remembered the cleanup song. And there was
Yeah.
one little bratty kid who wouldn't do anything, and she said she'd start singing the cleanup song, and he would get to work and he would clean up and do what he was supposed to.
I hear that song a lot. People, it's so funny.
Well, and
I've had people sing it to me a lot, not knowing what I used to do.
you
Yeah.
know what? Jenna told me her boyfriend Jackson knew the songs because since I've been talking
Sure.
to them, they were singing it. Jackson knew the words but didn't know it was from Barney. So it seems that
isn't that
it's
crazy?
like in your head, regardless of whether you knew it was Barney or not. I mean, do you remember the cleanup song?
I do very well,
do-
but it's not appropriate for me to sing it.
Well, do you think
because
there's somebody who might know it?
I was in the costume, as you know.
Okay.
Oh, boy, I know the words. Oh. Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share. Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share.
Oh boy.
Today, Nancy.
Oh my gosh, it is the voice of Barney.
Guys,
There he is, Bob West.
Bob.
Bob.
how you doing?
How- Wow.
It's great to see you.
You look great.
Oh, thanks. It's the lighting, you know.
And you sound the same.
Well, I've been lucky. It's a clean living, that does that. Never smoked, so.
Okay.
Exactly.
Nancy, you seem
I'm
shocked a little bit.
I'm flabbergasted. I am impressed. I am excited. I mean, besides being the voice of Barney, you've done so many other voices. I mean, you're one of the best voiceover talents, and you obviously have a great face too, but in the country, in the world. So we all know
Well,
you, Bob.
and I
West.
think as the old joke goes, I have a face made for radio.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. So how do you feel seeing Bob and talking to him today?
Well, it's been great. We've connected with Purple Tails, and I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and it just feels like yesterday. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah. It's been wonderful. So, talk about looking the same, good grief, Carrie. He looks fantastic.
Wow.
Clothes in shape, he looks stupendous. Stupendous!
That's good of you to say, since so many people never got to see him.
Well,
I
that's
didn't
true.
see either one of
That's
us. I
true.
mean, none of us were shown. We were all hidden.
Well, it's funny. Ron Ballantyne, our sound mixer on the show, he said to me once, "You too can be anonymously famous."
Exactly.
So we could go anywhere and no one would know who we were, except when if you'd wear a tour jacket and it says Barney on it, it says Bob. We would always get stopped. Didn't matter where we were. There would always be someone who would stop us and say, "Do you work on that show?" It was really fun. It was really fun.
Well, we could do that after shows. Go to a restaurant or something, and you'd have all these people in there with strollers, and they'd have no clue who was sitting at the table next to them.
That's right. I love that picture of the stroller parking lot. It was just a sea of strollers.
There it is. It's
Oh boy.
Oh my! There is no space between strollers,
No.
in front of strollers. Good grief! Is that just a big? Looks like a football stadium or football field or something.
It's some kind of stadium. Yeah, I think there was a venue off to the side, an enclosed indoor venue, and so they just let everybody park their strollers on the field, and Barney was inside. I
It's
think.
been so much
Okay.
fun. Nancy's really gotten learning about this Barney universe, and we talk about these numbers of the amount of people that showed up and the amount of people that watched, and you see these pictures now, and I think she's seeing what we've been talking about so much.
I am a believer.
Yeah.
I believe. So, but let's go to the beginning, Bob. First of all, how did you get the job of the voice of Barney?
Well, it was an audition, seemingly like any other at the time. I had been doing voiceover for 10 years, and
Wow.
I had done a little bit, just a little bit of costume character work as well. I was the Blaster, which is a robot character for Humana Hospital, Medical City, Dallas, and we went out to grade schools, and we had programs where we talk about health and that sort of thing. And
Okay.
so because I kind of sort of seemed to qualify to be Barney, they say on this audition. Well, the first audition was great. They called me back, and then they figured out, though, between the first and the second auditions, that because for some reason they had started building the costume, I was too tall for it. They wanted me to be Barney, but I was too tall for the costume.
Exactly.
So, which is kind of unusual, kind of backwards, But so they ended up saying, well, what we're going to do is we're going to have you do the voice, and we've got this wonderful performer named David Voss who's going to do the body. And so he did the body, and we went from there. Or it might have been somebody just before David Voss, but we had that's when it first split. That's when it became two different people. So very unusual.
That's cool enough.
David did those 3 videos that you did.
Yes, David did the 3 videos. I think we had and we had someone else in the Barney costume very temporarily. I think, and it was kind of like we sort of switched around until we found the team that really worked well, and David Voss was great. It was fantastic.
He
We're still in
was.
touch.
Oh,
I
so
love Facebook for that.
We all just absolutely love David Voss. He ended up being on the tour with me. He was the Wingster in the New York.
Yeah, that one I was talking about between the Wizard of Oz, the Winkster, and the Jeff Voss, which I'll explain more coming soon. But anyway, let's continue on.
Radio
the
City
wings,
Musical.
is that a character?
It was a character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone loved David, so when he left, they found a way to bring him back and make him continue with the family, because we just love David Voss.
So what year did you start as the voice?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess counting about 12 back from 2000, I guess, would be somewhere, right at the end of the
because I started in 91, so you would have been 89 or 88 or something of
somewhere
that
in
nature.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to go back a little bit back before 1988, because I do know that you've always been singing and doing voice things even when you were at Trinity University in San Antonio, I understand.
Oh. Yeah. So I hear someone dished on my college career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually
Nancy
do.
does research
I
here,
do.
Bob.
I do actually do movie reviews with Bob Opelka.
If you haven't seen my episode, she had me crying 2 or 3 times. So,
Well, first of all, movies with Bob, really? I did not realize that. Anyway, let's continue on.
prepare yourself.
That's right. But so Bob Opelka's a former classmate, and he was telling me how you were always singing at lunch and dinner. You just burst into song. Is that true?
Well, we had a group of people who were, there was interesting. We kind of lived in what was the Animal House dorm before Animal House the movie existed. So we had a bunch of really creative, really energetic people, and a group of us became this kind of ad hoc singing group on campus that became the Serenaders. And so we would actually go and serenade the girls' dorms, stand under the balconies and sing all these 50s tunes to them. And that was a lot of fun. We did that for several years, and kind of became an institution there.
Well, and apparently too, Bob, you did something concerning Buppets. Does that ring a bell with the San Antonio traffic system campaign?
Well, it's the Via Metropolitan Transit. It's the transit authority, the bus company there. After I graduated, I did some graphic design work because that's my parallel career, and but I found this ad for a communications coordinator job at VIA in San Antonio.
Okay.
And I thought, let's check when an interview for it. And they told me that included in this would also be doing puppetry for the Via Buppets. The Via Buppets was a really beloved ad campaign that it was all these bus puppets. They were about yay big, and there was friendly Frank, and that's the way to go. And there was a couple other bus puppets, and then there was a little boy character named Billy Busrider. And Billy Busrider with this little, he was a live arm puppet, so hand in the mouth, and then this hand is gesturing. And I got to do those puppets. So I'm one of the few people who can say that part of my career included working under the desk of the mayor of San Antonio.
Okay.
Talking to him and doing, yes, he wore great socks. It was awesome talking to him. All the Buppets always called him boss and everything. And we did some. I didn't do the ads themselves. They were done by a production company from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I did PSAs and that sort of thing. So
Your friend
that
Bob,
was a lot of fun.
Your friend Bob Opelka did say you were a real talent. Even back then, you had a fast, quick mind, and just gifted. So he says hi.
Well, I'll have to thank him. I'll have to thank him the next time. He went by a different name back when we were in college.
Wow.
He didn't. I don't. Absolutely.
Mike Opelka.
Mike.
Wasn't it Mike Opelka? Yes. Is he under a pseudonym? Mike Opelka.
Mike.
Yes.
Oh, but it's Micah. Oh well. I'll have to ask.
Opelka, yeah.
Mike Opelka.
I didn't know it was Bob. Maybe he's got a pseudonym now.
Have I been saying Bob? Did I say Bob?
You did.
Was I saying?
You have
It
been.
is Mike. My apologies. I've got Bob on the brain. Doom. I've got Bob on the brain. I'm stopped now. It is
Look what
Mike.
you've done, Bob.
See,
You've got Nancy all worked out.
I'm done. Mike Opelka, sorry. Bob, sorry.
Sorry,
Okay.
I totally outed you on that one. I'm sorry.
Take it away, Carrie.
So then, Bob, so tell
So
me.
then-
I know everyone's talked about a little bit about the Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes. I also did. I did two of the characters at the animatronics characters at Chuck E. Cheese Pizza. Jasper T. Jowls, he was the banjo playing dog, and there was Pasquale, the Italian tenor. He was the pizza cook. He was very excited about making a pizza pie. So that was fun. I did that for about 10 years. Over at the same time, I was doing Barney, and
wasn't
I left
Stephen White
that show
involved?
before Barney. Yes, yes.
That's
as a matter
when
of fact.
Stephen White.
Yeah, and I think I could be wrong about this, but I think it was that I mentioned Steve to Dennis DeShazer and said, we have this great writer on Chuck E. Cheese, and he might be great for the show. I talked to Steve about it and said, I think they're always looking for great writers, and
Good
I
thing,
think
actually.
I may have been instrumental in getting Steve over, and even if I wasn't, I'm still gonna take credit for it.
Doing so many voices and the fact that you can just like that. Ever get anyone confused? Did you ever give Barney the wrong voice?
No, it's funny. I never did. I guess it's it's a kind of professional schizophrenia. I don't know. You just kind of settle into that character, and you know who you are at that moment, and you just go with it.
Exactly.
There was, there were times when I would do radio commercials or something where they would have me do like 14 different voices in a single spot. And I would try my best to move from one voice to another so that they wouldn't have to edit, and they could and it just was done in real time. Not always the easiest thing to do, because moving from one physical placement in the throat to another one, depending on what they are, can be kind of difficult. But usually I didn't get mixed up. Every once in a while I did.
Well, and you can see, as quick as he is, why it was so important. Because when you're doing a live event, you have no idea, especially with children, what they're going to say, what you're going to do, how do you react. And so you've got someone in the costume and then a voice that are having to react on the fly. And then react to each other, whatever may happen.
Man.
Yeah, we had some interesting moments. Speaking of ad libs, I mean, there was a there was an event at Roseland Ballroom, and I cannot remember what it was. It was right. It was around the Grammys and around Radio City Music Hall while we were there.
Yes.
Okay.
I was part of that.
And they had this. It was a big Barney event, and it was a circus thing. There was this big circus backdrop. I think I got your photo of
Yeah,
that.
there's a
and they had
picture of it.
all this, and they
Wow.
and this is actually Cheryl being presented with I think it's the Platinum and Multi-Platinum Sales Awards for Barney's Favorites Volumes 1 and 2.
And even the colors are still so bright. I mean, when you describe this, you've got the yellow backdrop, and she's even
Yeah.
wearing red, and it's
Yes.
beautiful
Yes, if you're not
Was
on
always a
YouTube,
colorful world.
we will put these pictures up, by the way.
on our
There you
website.
go.
Yeah.
On our
Well,
website, yes.
Well, the thing that happened during this event was that there was entertainment before this went on, and it was performers. They were like acrobats, and they had a trampoline. And
Wow.
so the trampoline thing happened, and it was time to move on to the next part of the show, and they couldn't fold up the trampoline to get it out of the way. And it took longer and longer and longer, and we're all live. Barney is on stage, and Baby Bob and BJ were all just waiting, vamping, just ad-libbing. And we ran out of things to say, except, bless her heart, Patty Wirtz has an encyclopedic knowledge of elephant jokes. She just started cranking out the elephant jokes, and she, as BJ, and totally saved the day. She filled all the empty space. I couldn't believe how many elephant jokes she knew. It was awesome. That was a great thing working with Patty Wirtz and with Julie Johnson. Julie Johnson, the voice of Baby Bob, and Patty Wirtz, the voice of BJ. Two of the greatest comedy minds I have ever worked with in my life. Talk about quick, much quicker than me. I mean, just amazing. Always hilarious.
Oh.
That's Patty on the left.
Oh, that is Al Roker. Okay, that's fine. From the side of being there. But anyway, let's continue on.
And Al Roker and Julie Johnson and me at the Today Show.
Look at you with all that dark hair.
Yeah, a little bit darker. Had some pigment back then.
Oh, man.
Well,
Not anymore.
Well, in fact, I also have heard, Bob, that you all, as the voices, could be sort of edgy and say some things that might throw off Carrie and the other kids.
Every once in a while. What was great is that while we're doing the show, we were on stage. We had a mute button. You know, so that the kids can hear. They always had these monitors out on stage, speakers, sitting out on the stage on the set, so that while we're doing the scene, the kids can hear Barney and BJ and Baby Bob talking.
Okay.
But we all had mute buttons in our booths that were off to the side, and we would push the mute button and we would start talking, and the only people who could hear us would be the dinosaurs in their headsets.
And you were Cole
And
and
then
Patty
the
talked about this
director-
too. They love to drive us nuts.
Yes. And Jeff Brooks was the one person we loved to trigger because he had this amazing laugh. He would
Oh,
just
my.
take off, you know.
And Jeff Brooks played
So,
BJ.
yeah, that was-
before Kyle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And he had
So,
a laugh like you
yeah.
can't even describe that laugh.
Yeah, it was great. And then we'd always hear from, somebody. It would just be silence on the set between takes, and then all of a sudden we'd hear Brooks just take it off, and then we'd hear the
my.
director say, "Voices." They knew what was going on.
When did you know you were involved in a phenomenon?
Oh, it was like a succession of things. It would just kind of ratchet up this kind of the scale of it and the sense of how people were connecting with it, and how many people and that sort of thing. And I think probably the thing that really impressed me the most was when we did a pledge week. We would tour around the country to go to different PBS stations, and we would, during pledge week, when they would have Barney on, and that would hopefully get some calls coming in and some pledges. And we went to our home station, Connecticut Public Television, in Hartford, Connecticut.
CPTV.
And that's right. And they had been promoting Barney as coming to the Hartford Mall,
Okay.
and there was going to be a meet and greet. And they said, you know, come out and get your picture taken with Barney, get your child's picture taken.
Okay.
And there's going to be like a little bit of a sing along first, and then we do the pictures. And we didn't know that they were doing that they were promoting it. And we got there and we were on camera, in the studio, doing some pledge stuff. And then we talked to the folks involved, and they told us they'd been promoting it all week. And we said, and how many people are you prepared for? And they said, oh, we think there's probably going to be maybe 600 people there. And we just all looked at each other. We said, no, it's going to be more than that. If you've been promoting this all week, we said, 1,000, maybe 1,500 people at least. And so we went to Hartford Mall.
Okay.
And as we parked the car and we got out, and the crate had been taken into the mall through service entry.
And the crate
we came
being
in.
the crate.
The crate being the costume.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we arrived and we walked toward the mall, and the sidewalks were covered with people with strollers and kids.
Okay.
Just tons of people covering the sidewalks going into the mall. And we thought, well, this looks like more than 1,500 people. And we got inside, and the mall had this common area that was 3 floors, and it was open, and it was 3 floors of railings. And we got inside, and all 3 floors were packed with people. First floor completely filled, going all the way down the hallways in the mall. Then the second floor completely filled, going about 10 or 15 people deep. Third floor completely filled all the way around with about 3 or 4 people deep.
Okay.
And the estimate that we finally came up with was about 6,000 people had showed up. And so we ended up having a series of these events. I mean, that was really the event that said, this is what we're dealing with now. But we had a series of these events where so many people would show up that it became, I started trying to say, hey guys, you really need to start ticket controlling all your events now. And they said, oh yeah, I think you're right. And we had there were a couple of times at some venues where the fire marshal would actually shut us down because there were just too many people.
Okay.
That happened, I think.
Several of those.
2 or 3 times. Yeah. And they said either, they had to stop people from coming in, and sometimes they would actually, I think they actually stopped one event completely. So after that, it became
that happened.
Yeah. I mean, it just became a logistical thing after that. It's like, okay, arenas are the next stop. We really can't do malls anymore. It was wild. It really was wild.
But
And it was
also,
thrilling.
Bob,
I'm gonna tell you, when we did that thing, that particular event, I'll tell you that really the moment, the really thrilling moment was Barney. We were staging in a room, I think on the 2nd floor, and David Joyner got in the costume, and we all walked out together. And I did this thing when we had personal appearances that I had learned from somebody at a trade show. I had a wireless mic that I had taped inside the palm of my hand. It was just a little tiny lavalier, and I would just hold it like this, and I could stand with my arms folded like this right in the middle of the crowd, and I could do Barney's voice. And if the speakers were loud enough, no one would hear me. I'd have to be standing 6 inches from someone for them to realize it was me. And so I'm in my tour jacket. There's several other people in our tour jackets. We get in the elevator. We come down the elevator. The elevator doors open, and there's a line of people doing security duty. And it is solid, packed humanity. Here comes Barney stepping out of the elevator, and the roar that went through that mall was huge. It was.
Wow.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it right now. And it was like, ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. It was just crazy. And Barney, we got up to the stage, going through the crowd, and people just reaching out and touching Barney. and got up to the stage, and we said, we've got to completely redo this event now, because they had no idea how many people were coming, so we didn't have enough Polaroid film for the photos.
Okay.
So we had to have runners go out all across Hartford and buy up all of the Polaroid film that they could find for the cameras, and they bought some more cameras.
Okay.
So we ended up staying, instead of it being like an hour, we ended up staying, I'm trying to remember now, I think it was something close to 6 hours we
Wow.
stayed to accommodate everybody. And they were saying, the folks from CPTV were saying, well, we've got to cut it off. And David and I were saying, no, we really need to stay, because we promised that's what we need to do. So we stayed, and it was amazing. Just amazing.
It's amazing, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but it wasn't just the kids who would wait in line for you. I mean, weren't you on airplanes sometimes, or the cruise, like when you were at the Today Show or something?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that people a lot of times will leave guests on the Today Show, the crew. They usually leave the guests alone. It's just like, be cool, everybody, hey, maybe acknowledge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were on the Today Show and we finished our spot, the crew came up to us backstage, David and I, and asked for autographs for their kids. So
Yeah.
people are they're hesitant to get autographs from themselves, but if it's for their child, they're willing to do anything to be the hero for their kids. So there would be like a line of crew members, and the plane thing that you're mentioning was this. One time we were I was flying, I think, from Dallas to New York, and the flight attendant I had a Barney watch, and Barney on it, right? She saw my watch, and she said, where did you get that? I said, well, I work for Barney. And she asked all the right questions, and I said what I did. And she said, oh, that's great. And then, like 10 minutes later, somebody comes up to my seat and says, hi, are you the voice of Barney? And I said, well, yeah, and can I have your autograph? I thought, how did they know who I was? And after the next person and the next person and the next person came up, I realized the flight attendant had been going up and down the aisles telling people that I was on the plane.
Still.
And so there was in the aisle of the airplane on the flight, there's like, at one point there were like 6 people in line for an autograph. It was so much fun, that people are willing to do that for their kids. They would just, I've never seen that. I've seen celebrities on airplanes. I've never seen that, but people will do anything for their kids.
Still.
They said it was for their kids. I'm sure it was really for themselves.
Still.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Yep.
What about like being at the
I don't
grocery
really
store and you say something? I mean, is it like, do they recognize? Was your voice recognized?
No, my voice was never recognized, although I have to say that when I would meet people and they would be holding a small child,
Still.
they would often say, and I'm just using my regular voice, and they'd say, they're making the connection. They can hear Barney in you. A little child would hear my voice and hear Barney in it, and they'd be just like, just looking at me,
Still.
And the parents would say that this is what this is they are entranced because they can hear Barney in your voice,
Okay.
But no, we would go out and, nobody would ever recognize us unless we had our tour jackets on. So,
Okay.
and I haven't done that in years. I should try that and see what happens.
Okay.
One of my favorite memories with you, Bob, I don't know if you remember this, was that Make-A-Wish that we did. I don't remember where we did it at, but there was a circle. Do you remember the family, the kids? There was a big circle, and they had us in there holding hands, and we all sang "I Love You" together. I don't know if you're remembering this moment. And
I was at a hospital.
It wasn't a hospital. It was, and I'm trying to think what it was. It was part of it could have been during the time of Radio City, and we were all holding hands, the whole family, everyone. And the little child is singing "I Love You," who's obviously very not well off. And at the end, Bob went and kissed. I don't know if you remember. You kissed that child, and I just Yeah, I know. I had to turn around. And I was like, boy, he totally caught me off guard. It was, but it all just happened. It was such an incredible moment because it went from them meeting Barney to will you hold our hands to this. You just never knew where things were going.
Exactly.
And it became so. And this is what we talk about. I've never seen sadness. It was this just beautiful moment that just happened. And then we leave the room, and Bob and I just kind of look at each other like. I think we knew how lucky we were to be part of moments like that.
And I think, Bob,
I mean,
you had
talk
said,
about a privilege. I mean,
well, and like Carrie has said,
to
the
be
Radio
the-
City Music Hall was a huge moment for you guys.
yeah. I mean,
It was, but in the middle of all that.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of all that, is
Oh
we're
my! This is amazing to see that picture like this. I saw it on Blue Deck's website, which is awesome, but there you go on that. So, the bird and the clouds and everything like this is amazing. So, yeah, I just want to let you know about these kids and how much they want and the Wingsters jokes, but there you go. Yeah. That was amazing, but anyway.
looking on stage. We're looking at all of us there.
Wow.
We did these amazing meet and greets.
Yeah, we did meet and greets, and I did phone calls. They would have kind of Make-A-Wish phone calls. I remember there were a couple of times, I was saying talk about a privilege. I mean, there's a child who's probably only going to be around for another few days or a few weeks, maybe a month at the most. And the one thing that they want in all the world is they want to meet Barney or talk to Barney on the phone.
Okay.
I mean, sorry.
You're fine.
That got a little tough for me sometimes. And but we did it as sorry.
You're
Well,
fine.
we
We
understood the
did it
response
as much as we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were times when there was once when we went to CBDV and we did the pledge break thing. They had me between breaks. They had me call this one child and talk to her, and she sounded very weak and far away, and they didn't expect her to live much longer at all. It's probably her last week, I think.
Yeah.
And it really hit me hard, and it made it I try to be the trooper, but boy, it made it kind of tough, and I had to ask them not to schedule those until like when I'm gonna come back on as Barney like 2 minutes later. I had to ask them, please, can we just wait until later after we're off the air? Because I mean, it's just. But like I say, what a privilege, and you were that reminds me, we were talking about Jenna and the breathing treatments.
Yes.
And
So-
we had so many stories like that of kids using Barney as something that would get them through treatments, especially oncology kind of things. And one of the things that we did with Barney, we had the Actimates Barney, which was this interactive version, this interactive doll,
Okay.
which used this amazing technology to say like 4,000 different phrases or something. And there were different sensors and it interacted with a CD-ROM and your computer and that sort of thing. But we also had this custom version that we did for hospitals.
Okay.
And we recorded a special tracks where Barney talks a child through the chemo process and talks to them and gets them, has them breathe and, to calm themselves down and that sort of thing. And so these Actimates Barney dolls were in several hospitals for a while in oncology wards, and they said that it really, it really worked. It really helped a lot of kids stay calm. So
I wish those were still around. People, that's amazing. I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, even just the Barney doll, the Barney plush, kids would, really hold on to it. And we've had so many letters from parents and who've said, that it really, Barney helped a child get through sickness or through a divorce. One time I got a letter from someone who said that Barney was the thing that our child held on to. Her Barney doll was always there.
Wow.
And the Barney tapes.
Wow. This picture, okay. Barney the Dinosaur on television fame, shaking hands with... Who's David Bursell? Okay, 15 of... during the visit Friday from St. Louis Children's Hospital. It's a sad time for Barney. And I felt kind of bad for that guy. Let's continue on. Yeah, wheelchair guy. Anyway.
So, to be part of that, and that just demonstrates the potential power of media and programming, and that responsibility that I think that we have, to make it quality and understand how connected we can be with, especially kids. I think it's
exactly.
I think it's really important to remember.
And we're still getting those letters.
That's absolutely.
We're still getting those letters since Purple
Yeah.
Tales has started about the divorce and the different effects that it's had.
Yeah.
We've even had people. We had a young man that said he hated Barney when he was young.
Well, first of all, I don't want this. I don't have to ignore this guy because I don't want to do something like that. Secondly, I'm a huge fan of Barney since the mid 90s. So, let's say if I'm a huge fan of Barney, then if someone brings me out of Barney, that doesn't mean I hate Barney. No. And Bob, if you're watching this episode of LJ Reacts right now, I do apologize because I don't want you to hate me on this, but hear me out, okay? This is what I really like about Barney, okay? It's awesome. It's a huge Barney fan base, and ever since I was a little boy growing up, I loved the New York City concert, and that tape was inside that was Babe, the sheep pig, and Rudolph, the Reggae Bass version only, and that was on that one tape. Then that was lost in 2000, and it was one of the greatest memories I had in my life. I wanted to show you the pictures I had with Barney, but I couldn't because I was too busy with other things. So, Bob, if you watch this episode of LJ Reacts, I just want to make sure you're okay with that. But anyway, let's continue on.
And after watching Purple Tales and understanding this, he understands what it was about, what we were doing, why we were doing it.
Well,
and
I
the
was
importance of
contacted
it.
by several. Yes. And I mean, in the '90s, late '90s, I started reconnecting with people from college, and there would be several people who would say, boy, did I hate that show. I just hated that dinosaur.
Well, I maybe disagree with some people for college. For me, I'm maybe agree with Bob at one point. He's the voice of Barney. For me, I'm a huge fan since the late 90s, Let's just say mid-90s, excuse me. Let's say that. As I grew older, I wanted to branch out. I do want to play Barney 36, as you saw in some of the episodes of Friday's Lucius Storm 5. And of course, he's the voice of Barney. And then my friend Remix Plum, aka Brian Plumley, came up and made some jokes about him. And now he's no longer being the voice of Barney. Like Bob West, who's the voice of Barney. Remix Plum did some jokes about Barney and say things like this, okay? I'll talk more about it at the end of the episode, but it's going to be fun to talk about it, but let's continue on.
Just annoying. And then they said, but then I had a child.
Oh,
and
really?
I saw my child interacting with Barney.
Okay.
And I saw what Barney was doing for them and helping them along in terms of education, and how Barney was really their first friend, their first best friend. And then I got it. I had several guys. It's like always the guys will do that. I hated that joke. And then
You gotta be joking me. Well, we're 40 minutes in for this, nearly 4 minutes in to tape this episode, and all of this is just saying things like I hate Barney. Oh my god. Wait, are you joking me? Anyway, let's continue on.
They say, now I get it. Because I'm a dad, and now I get it. Which is that was really rewarding.
Yeah.
I know you did a lot of interviews, and I mean, how was that concocted? Was there always someone in the suit, or was it you just doing the voice? I mean, how did that work?
Well, there was a mix of the two. I mean, every once in a while I would do call-ins to radio stations and just have a little bit of an interview. We did satellite tours. Carrie and I did a satellite tour for the launch of PBS Kids Sprout.
With Big Bird.
And yeah, it was great. Carrie was in the suit, and I was doing the voice. And Carol got to work with the legendary Carol Spinney, who was just...
Wow! Okay. Carol Spinney's Big Bird. Okay. Okay. That Big Bird voice. Okay, he's now retired at the time. So, 2018, as I talk about in Remix Prom on Facebook, hosted by Remix Prom. So, now it's getting ready to be canceled. Now known as Interactive Saturdays with Remix Prom on Twitch. So there you go on that, Bob. So continue on.
This guy ever.
Well, and I've told that story, Bob. Do you remember him doing? Because he also did the voice of Oscar the Grouch. Do you remember that? And he was doing both voices.
Wow.
I mean, there's
really funny.
You've got two in the costume. You've got all these voices live working together. It's amazing.
Yeah. There was an epic moment when we did that launch where Barney and Big Bird. I think that was the very first time Barney and Big Bird had ever met. And there's this stage, and they meet each other, and they get together, and they have a hug. And it was just like, that's one of my favorite.
Oh, really? I haven't seen Barney and Big Bird have a hug before in my life. Because even though Oscar, as Carrie mentioned in the podcast, okay, that's just great enough. But, that's just me. But, I really want to see a picture of that, but I couldn't because I really want to see it really badly. Ugh. Continue on.
Right there, because Big Bird, and Sesame Street I've always been a huge fan. So and as part of, it's interesting. I met some of the Muppeteers while we were doing character counts, Kids per Character, at Universal Studios Florida.
Really? I was at back then, I was only nearly 1 year old when this happened, when this released, and that was okay. Kids per Character, yeah. Joel Phillips was the composer at the time, so I wasn't ready to be in Universal Studios yet when that happened. When I was 1, that had to happen, and then afterwards, I was wearing a t-shirt. I was at this little infant shirt or toddler shirt wearing a 96 per 100 year. Let me show you this in the end of the episode because let me see. Yeah, because that's Atlanta, by the way. Because that's part of that, and it's Special Olympics 1996. So there you go on that. Let's continue on.
About it's the Pillars of Character. It was a really interesting program.
Wow.
And met some Muppeteers because they were there for representing a different show. I can't remember which one they were on at the time. But then when we got to New York, Peter Linz, who is one of the Muppeteers, invited me to go to the Sesame Street studios, and I actually got to go and I sat in Big Bird's nest. It was so great.
Yeah, I did not realize that. Well, this is the things I want to go next year. I don't know, because even though Carol Spinney retired right now, because even though Remix Prom told me about this, if Brandon's watching this right now, so there you go on that. But even though I was speechless at this point when Bob, the voice of Bonnie, was to come in Sesame Street at the moment. So if I was Barney, then I'd be speechless right now, because the Polly, something like that, who did Barney, is also did Sesame Street at one point. Let's continue on.
Wow.
I should find that photograph for you sometime. I can't find that. I'll have to find it again. But
Okay.
yeah, that was great. I'm a total fanboy. Total fanboy.
Well,
Wow.
we'll show because I have the picture of you and me and Carol.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we will put
So
that
we
up
will-
on
we will
our
put that up.
website.
We've got that because I think we were both just kind of blown away meeting Carol because I was the same way. I grew up with Sesame Street.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's just
grew up a bit as
legendary.
well. So I may come up with a new series. Well, and Bob, if you watch this episode, I have done 7 seasons of BNF vlogs. You were on 6 seasons of BNF vlogs. Of Barney and Friends, excuse me. I have taped like 7 so far, Barney and Friends vlog series. And I'm so far finishing up touches of season 7 for 14. And I never get the chance to finish it. So, if you watch this right now, Bob, please tell me when I'm gonna let you know when I'm done with Barney's and Friends vlog series, and then you'll have a celebration and the con. You know, I'll tell you when, but I'll have a celebration in the back 2020s. Let's just say that. But as for Sesame Street coming up, we're doing a vlog series coming up in 2020. You know, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Sesame Street coming up, you know, this year, you know, just to make you sure about that. And it's about Sesame Street's vlogs, and that's gonna happen. But I'm also planning on 2 vlog series coming up. One is the Weekenders vlogs, and another is Blue's Clues vlogs to celebrate Blue's Clues a new reboot. You know, that's just me, of course. Let's continue on.
So you're
But to
still
be there on the set was really amazing.
well. So where did Barney take you from there? Once the show once you stopped doing the Barney voice, at least in that way. Where to now?
After I left the show.
Sure, let's start there.
Well, after I left the show, I came to Los Angeles and
Wow.
started doing some voiceover here. At the same time, I was doing and still engaged in my parallel career, which is graphic design and creative direction. And
Okay.
I've been doing graphic design for network television and feature films for off and on since about 2006, I think.
Wow.
It was really fun.
Yeah, same year that I discovered YouTube. But okay, let's continue on.
There was a movie called Still Breathing, which was written and directed by a friend of mine from college, Jim Robinson.
Okay.
And we were in Montreal shooting Barney's Great Adventure when the film came to the Montreal Film Festival. And I
Wow.
arranged for some tickets, and I got, a bunch of people from the crew, the movie, and we all went, and that was awesome. That was great.
That was
Kind of
awesome, yeah.
those worlds colliding,
Sure.
That was a lot of fun. But anyway, so yeah, I've been doing more on the studio lot kind of graphic design. I do graphic design for production graphics, and that means pretty much anything that you see that's printed, that's on the set, signage, billboards, just parking signs, tickets, anything
Okay.
that you see, posters, flyers, that sort of thing, would be the sort of thing that I would do. There are several other people in our department
Yeah.
who also do those things as well. But I just
Yeah.
did 3 seasons of Speechless on ABC.
Wow.
Minnie Driver.
Yes, Minnie Driver, John Ross Bowie, wonderful Micah Fowler as one of the sons, and it was just an amazing show, all about inclusion and treating people like people instead of treating people with disabilities as someone who is less. I think it was a really groundbreaking show. I was really proud to be part of that.
But it
Yeah.
also sounds a
and
little
before
like
that,
Barney. I mean, Barney kind of was that way too, inclusive.
Well, yeah, it was, but this is, I think, a lot more grown up.
Okay.
I know, I've
Little
seen it.
more inch.
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was really funny. I mean, we had an amazing writers' room. Scott Silveri, the creator, his brother had cerebral palsy, and
Okay.
so he was writing from, write what you know is what they say, and the people in the cerebral palsy community were just really over the moon from the reactions that I've seen with the show. I mean, reactions like, finally a television show about my life. I mean, that's something that you can't. That's just irreplaceable. So, yeah.
And
Very
what about the
proud.
conventions? Don't you kind of still
Oh.
do some conventions and things?
Yeah, I haven't actually started yet. The pop culture conventions, I've just started getting into that, just started booking them. So I've got 5 conventions booked for this year, starting the 4th of July
Okay.
and going forward
Wow.
from there. And I'll have a schedule on my.
Oh, we-
Wow. Where's the? Yeah, I don't know where is Georgia. We'll see what happens. Even though it's exciting to see Barney looking like this. Okay. Though, where's Georgia? I don't see Georgia everywhere. But anyway, continue on. Let's see. Tampa Bay, I see that. Michigan, I see that. Louisville, excuse me, I see that. But where's Georgia? I live in Georgia. Come on now. Anyway, continue on.
It up. We've got it up for
Yeah.
you. For those of you who are watching us on
going.
YouTube, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Big plug. Yeah, so I'll be there. I'll be signing autographs, and we'll be taking pictures, and that'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I'm really hoping that people will turn out, and that I'll be able to keep on doing this, because it's so much fun to talk to people like on my Facebook page and find out where everybody is, and see if I can actually meet folks in person, because I miss that. I miss getting to meet the Barney fans, get some of that love. It's great.
Okay.
I mean, Carrie has made it very clear to me that stepping outside the suit is a lot different than just
It is.
just being your normal photography
Okay.
person.
Yes.
And people are always surprised about that. But it seems, Bob, everyone knows your name. The fans always everyone has wanted to hear from Bob West. Does that surprise you that just doing the voice made you so famous?
Well, it's just Barney. I mean, that's just the effect. If you're associated with Barney, people just want to know everything they think everything they can hear. They want stories from. I mean, for example, Jess Nelson, who worked in our art department, was amazing.
Wow.
Built props and did all kinds of painted backdrops. A huge part of our art department was he is now talking about his experiences and things that he designed and everything, and putting up a bunch of photos on Facebook.
Yeah, which I saw on Facebook, by the way. Continue on.
And the stories he's got are awesome, and people are just asking tons of questions of him. And it's funny. One of the questions that I get the most often is, where are the Barney dolls now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Where are they? People want to know where they are, and a lot of people want to buy them. I think that's the thing, is they want to, or just see if somebody will just hand one over.
Where are they? Where are they?
It's a mystery. I don't know.
What did you save from
I
the show? What did you save?
I have a few things. I've got some wonderful going away presents that were made for me when I left the show, and they had a kind of a party for me. I've got this amazing. The most amazing thing I've got is the sales award for the albums. I mean, I've got this, this triple platinum thing on my on my wall, and it's just, that's surreal to me. It's an out of body experience when I look at that. But and then photographs, and it's funny. I was trying to look for more photographs from you guys, and I couldn't find them. I know they're in a box, and I'm looking for them.
Oh
But
my!
they're precious. We have some really good photos from. We had a professional photographer do a bunch of stills at Radio City Music Hall, and I'm going to find those and put them on Facebook and elsewhere. So.
Okay.
So you and Carrie, Bob and Carrie, what do you remember about life together as Barney, both of you?
Well, one thing I can tell you about is that time that we met Christine Hodge at this event at the Santa Monica Airport in a hangar.
Yeah.
And and we were there.
Wow. Okay. She was adorable back then. Okay, continue on.
A photo there,
I
and
mean,
and
Yeah.
it was
a
there
little
were a
bit
bunch of
different.
celebrities there. Yeah, there were a bunch of celebrities there, and there were all these booths and everything, and it was about I can't remember the overall organization that was holding it, but I was so totally fanboyed out and hyper that day. And I know that I was just incredibly obnoxious. And Carrie was so patient and so
Okay.
nice. And he was like this buffer of calm between me and the celebrities. And I was like, hi, can we get a picture? And he's just kind of, just this kind of grace
Okay.
that Carrie always has, would always come through. And he was the reasonable one.
Oh my.
you know what? You're the first one who is called Carrie Reasonable on Purple Tails podcast.
Oh my.
You're welcome back anytime. We have to have Bob on all the
Yeah,
time.
checks in the mail, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
This is a professional question I need to ask Bob, because when you're a voiceover person, I am sure you have had people come up to you and say, "Hi, Bob West. I've been told to have a really good voice for
And they
voiceover.
sound just like
What
that.
what should I do? How can I get into that? What do I need to do?"
And I say to them, well, let me tell you,
Oh my.
in a world where voiceover is king. No, I get that question constantly, and it's funny. I get it from a lot of people who are Barney fans, and a lot of times the reason why they want to get into voiceover, they'll tell me, is because of me and the Barney voice.
Oh my.
That's the thing that spurred them to want to get into voiceover. And that they have a Barney voice of their own, and so they would like to do that and other voices as well, And so, of course, the first thing I always tell people is that you have to remember that voiceover is voice acting.
Exactly.
So the first thing you have to be is an actor, and you have to learn interpretation, how to interpret copy. You have to learn how to deliver a line realistically, conversationally, not just in a goofy character voice, but also as the guy next door or as an announcer. Maybe you're good at an announcer, maybe you're not. A lot of people don't ever do announcer kind of stuff, and they're just this, this kind of regular person.
Yeah.
But acting is the core thing. You put together a demo tape, however you can. Sometimes you can take classes, and that'll help. A lot of times in a class, as part of the class, they'll record a demo tape for you that you can use as a kind of a rough demo, and maybe get that out to people. You get your demo tape too, or it's not tape anymore, but demo audio files, online files or whatever, even a CD. I think maybe people still circulate CDs.
Okay.
Something to send through the mail. But the thing is that these days it's very different. It used to be that, when I got to Dallas, I walked into two different agencies and saw an agent within 5 minutes.
Okay.
They listened to my demo, and we talked. And the second agency I went to was the Norton Agency, and I walked in and saw Nancy Johnson. She listened. She went to the back room, listened to it, came back and said, "Where have you been?"
Oh my.
And that was the start of my relationship with Nancy Johnson, who's the most wonderful agent ever, and for many, many years, right up until her retirement, she was my voiceover agent. But that was the way it was then. In Los Angeles, and I'm guessing in Dallas now too, you cannot just walk in and see an agent. You can barely even send a CD. It's very tough. You have to kind of know someone who can actually walk the CD the demo into the person, or to recommend you to them. Probably a talent at the agency or another agent in a different kind of department. So you have to have an intro, an entree, and then from there, hopefully you'll get some representation. On the other hand, the whole voiceover agency thing
Yep.
I think a lot of people are shifting away from using an agent, a voiceover agent,
Yeah.
and shifting towards getting online on some of these websites where you can post your demo and people come and listen to it, and a bunch of people bid on a job, and maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. The
Okay.
rates have kind of plummeted because of that, and it's really a very different market now.
Okay.
One of the reasons why I don't do voiceover as much anymore, because it's just so different.
Yeah.
And so, that's the thing, is that to do that kind of work, you now have to also have a home studio,
Okay.
and have something like this thing right here, which I
Yeah.
brought along with me, and
Wow.
a way to mix things, and to record things, and then to send files off to clients.
Okay.
But I mean, they're still recording at studios and that sort of thing too. But a lot of voiceover is done at home, even for big campaigns. I think one of the very last campaigns I auditioned for before I left the agency that I was with here, what used to be the William Morris agency, was for
Okay.
Toyota, I think, or is it Nissan? I can't remember now, but it was
Either
it was
one
it
works.
was down, yeah, it was down to 2 people, and if I had gotten the campaign, I would have had to have quickly bought a studio and installed it in my home, because that's what they wanted.
And a new
And
car.
without that studio, and a new car.
Oh my.
I got, I once got a couple of pair of sneakers out of a gig, so that was great. I think it was New Balance, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, if I didn't have the studio, if I had actually gotten the gig, I would have had to gotten the studio, and otherwise I wouldn't have gotten the gig.
Exactly.
Someone else got the gig, and he had a studio. I don't think that's the reason. He got it because he was really good. Motion Melvin, really great guy.
Okay.
But so yeah, I mean, it's a totally different world now from what it used to be. It used to be, I came up during the golden era of comedy dialogue radio commercials, and it was so much fun back in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah.
When I was in San Antonio and Dallas, and I drove to Austin from San Antonio a lot of times, and I would work, in several cities around the state, and I worked with so many amazing writers and producers, especially the folks at GSD&M in Austin. We did some really hilarious stuff. Worked with my radio wife, Kathy Kauser. I was always paired with her, and we did some really fun stuff. But oh wow, there was one day. I forgot about this. There was one day that I did. It was like at the peak of the radio craziness. I did. Thank goodness for Southwest Airlines. I did a recording session in Dallas in the morning. I flew to Houston, did a recording session there. I flew to Austin, did a recording session there. And then I flew back to Dallas and did another recording session there. I think it was either 3 or 4 sessions, all in one day on Southwest Airlines, because they had all these flights. But those days are
Sure.
gone.
Sure.
It was a great time, though. We had a great time.
So, what would you say Barney has done for you?
What Barney has done for me? Wow. I'm pretty sure that without Barney, I would never have traveled the world like I did.
Okay.
We did various tours and things. We went to Ireland, England, went to New Zealand and Australia and Canada. Carrie's been to Mexico.
Wow.
Carrie did some great stuff in Mexico. And the travel and getting to meet the kids and getting to just to feel that level of love coming at you from an audience. I mean, when we did Radio City Music Hall, we got down into there's a meet and greet or a sing along, I guess.
Oh, sing along.
Wow.
Big old Barney standing there. If you don't have, you're not watching us right now, and just there's the moms and dads and kids, and everybody's singing.
Yeah. And but we did, Radio City Music Hall. We did. We set up our booths, our sound booths, and everything. And when we started doing testing.
Okay.
And after the first night, I asked the sound mixer to turn up the audience in my headphones.
Okay.
And I kept asking him, turn it up, turn it up more.
Okay.
I want to feel like I'm on that stage. I want to feel like I'm there. And finally, he really cranked it up, and it was like, boom. Barney comes out, and and everybody's singing along, and that energy is just like, I've done live theater, musicals and such.
Okay.
And to feel that coming from people is something that, is wonderful for the ego, but it also, again, like I was saying about how powerful the connection with kids can be, especially, it just reminds me that, again, that we just have this responsibility to do it right, and to treat people well, and to put out a quality product, and especially when you're talking about children's education, I think that's just
Wow.
really vital.
At Radio City, where were you? Where were the three of your booths?
We were down on what's called the shop level, which is where all the carpentry and everything is, all the, where they would build things, the sets and all that. There were a bunch of levels.
Okay.
And it's kind of in the wings underneath, but out in the center, it's open. The whole stage is like a set of elevators.
Okay.
And all the floors can go up and down, and there's this thing called what was it called? The band car.
Okay.
That was like this little trolley that they could use. And there's all these workings underneath the stage that you would never know about unless they're used in the show. And so we're down there in these booths, in our whisper booths is what they're called, whisper rooms.
Okay.
And there's three of us, and we're kind of angled toward a monitor, which has the quad split on it.
Okay.
And we get to see cameras and then program.
Okay.
And we can hear ourselves and we can hear our audience. And one thing that we were fortunate not to be near was the elephant, which you've already talked about.
Here we have.
But when we would come in, we would come in the stage door, we would walk by the elephant's little room where they were keeping the elephant. And I have never smelled anything as eye-watering as that in my entire life.
Oh boy.
It's showbiz, folks.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I mean, that experience, Radio City it was really amazing. I mean, and the Rockettes. Hey, we had the Rockettes in our show.
Wow.
I mean,
See, Carrie
doesn't get any
didn't
better
tell
than
me.
that.
He didn't mention the Rockette. Well, he was in the suit. You probably didn't really see him, did you?
Okay.
Maybe my vision's not that bad. It's actually pretty good.
Okay. Well, how does it feel remembering all of this, Bob, Carrie? Just because I think he is such a big part of.
Well, we
of
talked
your
about
story.
this, Nancy. I'm sitting here learning stuff that I did. I've known Bob for a long time, and I'm loving this. I'm loving hearing some of these stories, and of course, I'm getting teary-eyed on some of this stuff too,
Okay.
because it really was unbelievable, and we were so blessed to have been able to experience these things.
Yeah, real
Bob,
work.
do you think you were born to be the voice of Barney? Somehow, somewhere you found it. So was this just providence?
I'm not much on fate and providence. I think it's just a happy coincidence that I happened to be in Dallas and I happened to audition and they happened to like what I did and
Did they like it the first time? I know you said you got a call back, but did you get that voice right on
Yeah.
immediately?
well, what's interesting is if you watch the first videos that we did, the first 3 or 4 videos that we did, Barney and the Backyard Gang, and then
That's the Sandy Duncan.
yes, if you watch those and you hear Barney, the voice sounds different than what it sounded like in the PBS series. And the voice in the PBS series is closer to what I auditioned with in terms of pitch range. It was higher. But the producers asked they thought that Barney should, because he's big, he should have a bigger, rounder, kind of lower sound. So for the first few videos, Barney had that lower sound, which is the Barney that the Wagner Barney. And
Yeah.
I believe, I've always thought I should see Barney in a Viking helmet with the braids,
Good.
But that Barney got retired. The big blue dog, as we called him, because it was a different color. A little tough to shoot, so they changed the color. And we evolved into what we saw in, I guess, the very last, kind of the last video, and then PBS in terms of the sound. And that's pretty much where we settled. The voice was, every once in a while, Dennis would have to come up to me and say, like a couple of years, he'd come up to me and say, the pitch, it's starting to get up there. Just maybe. Oh, okay. Sorry. Bring it back down just a little bit, and not quite as high and squeaky. So,
Exactly.
if Barney squeaks, my apologies.
Carrie, did you ever try to do the voice?
No, absolutely not.
Even
Will you
inside the
try to do the
costume?
voice now?
Yeah,
No,
try it.
absolutely not.
Oh, pressure.
Yeah, there's no pressure there. Absolutely not.
Well, but
Oh,
maybe.
come on, buddy.
Now I'll start dancing. I have no problem doing that.
There you go.
Well, Bob, will you come back? I mean, we'd love to have you in Dallas, but will you come? I mean, we'll check you out again in L.A.
I would love to. I mean, anytime you guys want me, I'm available. Not in the middle of the night, of course. I do need sleep. So
that's a whole nother show.
Well, what we need to do,
Morning
Nancy,
after
is
That's right.
Yeah.
we need to prepare ourselves. But what we need to do is bring his friends here, Julie and Patty, and have the three over here.
Exactly.
Well, but
getting the
how are we
band
gonna-
back together would
Yes.
be pretty
But
awesome.
I think we need to close this episode out in a very, very special way that might even make me tear up. Gentlemen, what do you think? What are we going to leave them
What
with?
do you think? I don't know. What were we leaving with? What do you have in mind?
I think maybe a little song.
Maybe a little bit of I love you, you love me. We're as happy as can be, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? Oh boy, I almost did the second verse first.
We
Oh,
love
my.
you, Bob. We all love you.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so
Oh, my
much. Love you
goodness
guys too.
gracious.
I'm a huge fan of this podcast, and I'm so glad you're doing it. Really am.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I mean,
Thanks so
I've got
much.
chills.
It's just been so great seeing you again, Bob.
And my
Yeah, same to you,
apologies.
Carrie.
My apologies to your friend Mike Opelka.
Okay.
Sorry about that. In a show like this, everybody's Bob. Bob
Exactly.
Stinson, Bob West, and Bob J. Thank you.
Yeah. So that was Pro Tales Podcast, episode 13. What do I think about this episode, though? It was funny, hilarious, and overall, it was fun, and awesome big time. So far, this episode went to be a success, and so far, the Blue Dog part, I don't know what's about to do it. But anyway, before we begin wrapping up this episode, I wanted to do two more things real quick. Number one, I wanted to give you what remakes have done with Brandon. Remakes also done with Barney. He actually did voice Barney from 2015 to 2019. Let's say that, since he retired the voice of Barney. So, even though he did the role of Barney until then, because he was not a Barney fan, although in 2016, Billy told Remix at the time at Tape Live episode 60, which is a game show hosted by Remix, originally co-hosted by Billy at the time, saying that don't mention Barney to Mark Leota ever again. He said, thank you. I'm like, oh my god. And then Remix, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but all of this had a complaint about Billy, so don't mention it in front of Mark. Has nothing to do with what I'm trying to say. We're trying to do highlights here, and he did not. And I mean, we're trying to do highlights, and he just ruined it for us and me and Remix together. And number 2, we're gonna go ahead and search up Special Olympics before we wrap things up. And he was told about kids per character. Now, I did wear a shirt based off of no, Summer Olympics 1996. Come on. This is not the one way we're gonna end this episode. Now, this is what I'm talking about, okay? I've been there before, and I'm gonna click on it now, okay? I've been to that place before. Now, I attended this event, and it was a great decision, opened by President Bill Clinton. And it was a great decision to make. It was 100th, and now it's telling me that it's 25th. Olympic, whatever you pronounce it. And it's Atlanta in 1996. I wore the shirt for toddlers only. I was 1 year old, and this is happening, And that was a great decision to make to wear this, But in all seriousness, that wraps up for LJPCBM episode 344. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one. This is Barnsey Buddy. Episode 21. Alex Barraz, if you're watching this for you, hope you get ready for this. But until next time, Sue Joseph, goodbye, peace out, baby. We get more to react to you guys very soon. And we're going to end off with, after the end credits, we're going to show you, the Doofus Guys episode. So Alex, be prepared, buddy. Till then, the Jeff was saying out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I failed to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. Why me?
So, Joey, it's another day of physical. Hey, watch it, Joey.
Hello there, I'm your substitute teacher, Barney the Dinosaur. Remember to do your jumping jacks and jacking off.
What?
Screw that!
Come on! I'm super duper nice. I'm not that bad of a guy. Oh, I'm not a pinata. Oh, what's all this candy coming out of me? Oh!
Bullshot!
When I thought the Power Rangers were hard on me, but this is ridiculous. That is fate. 8 balls in the sacks and the nuts.
BAM! And one more.
No!
Goodbye, Barney the Sackhead.
So, another boring day in physical education, huh?
Rather have Papinga back.
Hey there, it is your another substitute teacher, Chuck E.
What the hell?
Cheese's.
Who's this guy?
Come on, you can jog and I can give you a Chuck E. Cheese pizza coupon. Alright, now it's time for roll call. Joey?
Here.
Alex?
Here.
Oh, did you know that Barney the Dinosaur is my girlfriend?
What?
Barney's a girl?
Well, didn't you see between his legs?
Oh! That's it!
Come here!
Oh my!
Bam! Ow!
Bam! You made me cut my last name.
Bam!
Ugh, doesn't it smell like rotten cheese? Bam! Ow! Time out! I'm gonna kidnap you with all the other children.
Bam!
Because I'm
And I'll
Chuck E.
shove
Cheese.
this up your...
Ugh, my Chuck E. Cheese hole!
Wait, not me, Joey. What am I doing? No, not me. Oh!